Hi everyone, I'm Lori Ellison from Hudson Valley Bookkeeping, your real estate landlord bookkeeper. Today I'm going to give you a video from start to finish in QuickBooks Online in the year 2022. I've made a couple of these videos before, but people say, Lori, my QuickBooks looks a little different. So this will be very current for 2022. We'll do the entire thing from purchase to setup, tenants, invoicing, security deposits. If a landlord has to deal with it, I will try and cover it. And if there's something I missed, just be sure to post in the comments and I will make a follow-up video. All right, let's get started. Okay guys, here I'm at the QuickBooks website, and I'm gonna tell you right now, and you're not gonna wanna hear it. If you have multiple properties in one QuickBooks file, meaning your LLC has, or partnership, maybe corporation, has more units and you want to really be able to actively track it, you're going to have to go with Plus. And if you have a ton of units, you're going to need to go with Advanced. Now, who and why could someone have a ton of units? I actually have a client who has 3 RV parks. RV parks have a lot of spaces and spots. So that is one way. Or if you have an apartment building with a certain amount of units, if you're really if you're getting into hundreds of units, or you're probably going to be using a large tracking software like Buildium. But if you have more where you're really going to want to track certain things, Essentials won't do it for you because it doesn't have classes. Your option is to not buy this and go and get QuickBooks Desktop classes, and you have unlimited amount of classes and charts of accounts in QuickBooks Desktop, except QuickBooks Desktop just changed to a subscription service, but it's still, I think, quite a bit less. I mean, I think for like $350 you can buy it, but it's not cloud-based. And then you could go to a hosting provider that I recommend, like Right Networks. You can put QuickBooks Desktop. So before you purchase QuickBooks Online, really compare. I should make a video on if you should go QuickBooks Online or if you should go QuickBooks Desktop. If you manage multiple LLCs for multiple properties, let's say more than 3 LLCs, I think you should be in QuickBooks Desktop. I think you should be hosted at Right Networks. And that's RIGHT, networks.com. Simply because the price becomes a lot. Like here, it's going to be really, after the intro, $80 a month. Okay, but still, to run your business, to do your accounting for $80 a month, don't, just keep everything in perspective. So here I am at this website. I'm going to choose to buy Plus because I need classes to teach you how to fully track independent units or buildings. There is a thing called tags, which would allow you to use Essentials. And I made a video on, different ways to track things. But I got to tell you, classes is still hands down the easiest way, especially if you're paying someone in your office or, an admin, you'll do better with classes. Okay, so enough of that. We're gonna pick Plus. Okay, you're almost never going to need, a real estate investor almost never needs payroll. I would also, I think it's better to not have everything integrated. So maybe not use a payroll program within your accounting provider, just in case later you decided to leave QuickBooks. Everything's not so much like that, okay? A $50 one-time session with live bookkeeping, this can't be very much, but other than clicking 2 buttons, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to pause this for a minute and get set up, and then I will be back. Okay, so I've paid for QuickBooks. I'm set up. Not really, but just started. So if you have an LLC, put in the name of your LLC. I don't recommend converting QuickBooks desktop data into QuickBooks Online. Start a brand new year now. The conversions aren't going well. It's only running on accrual. It's all my cash basis clients that want to do the conversion. We're not doing it. I don't think that's where I want to pick. And so it's funny, look, sole proprietor, partnership, nonprofit, S Corp, C Corp. Let me just change this. It's really not real estate agent, it's activities related. But it still doesn't say LLC, which is ridiculous. Most of my clients, I'm in New York, we do LLCs. It's funny though, when I talk to people down south, they have more partnerships. I'll say I'm the owner because if you were doing this, but a lot of this is just silly stuff. And most of it so they can try and sell you something. Okay, we're not going to do any apps. Don't link your accounts yet. Okay. All right, so that's what you'll go through. I mean, I would have just X'd all that out, but then it'll probably keep trying to get you to do it each time. Okay. So this looks totally different than the QuickBooks I use. So bear with me. And this is why people write to me and say, my QuickBooks looks nothing like yours. And I think it just has to do with they keep changing the program. I also use a lot of times the accountant version, but they keep changing this left side. So we'll get through it together. So I'm going to take a shot and say, let's click bookkeeping. Okay. You got to remember, QuickBooks is trying to sell you lots of things. Like they're trying to sell you bookkeeping. They're going to try and sell you payroll. They're going to try and sell you insurance, credit card processing, you name it, human resources. So these kind of keep changing. They're also lending people money, like Cabbage. So just kind of keep that in mind. Now, chart of accounts. What is a chart of accounts? It's a list of accounts that, think of it like when you go to the gas station and you buy gas. So that's automobile expense. Or if you deposit rent into your bank account, that bank account is part of your chart of accounts. So it's really how you code things. And if you were to go talk to your accountant and then you said, I made X amount of money in rental income, I paid this much in taxes, I paid this much in insurance, this much in mortgage interest. Those that is what is a chart of accounts. Okay, it's really pretty simple. And you kind of have to think about that when you set them up. I'm going to do this whole tutorial considering you have 2 buildings, and let's do 3 tenants in each building. Okay, so don't worry about your checking account. Don't worry about connecting things. Don't worry about getting apps. The biggest reason you're here watching this video is, in my opinion, you need to know what your rent roll is. Okay, you need to know like how much money you're making on each unit, each month, and each year, and or how much is one building doing better than another building. Especially if you could have, you know, kind of a big apartment complex, and you could have 3 or 4 buildings, and within there you could have 5 to 20 units. This is a good scenario for you. This is also a good scenario if you have one, you know, even 1 unit or a couple different things that are all incorporated in one LLC. I spoke to some people recently, and they had under the umbrella of one LLC, they had a commercial building, they had like what do you call those, VRBO, and then they had a small strip mall. Here in New York, we really keep it down to like 1 building per LLC, 1 type of entity for the corporate veil, but still sometimes people have a certain amount under 1 LLC. So that's what I'm gonna show you right now. Okay, so first thing we would do, and the most thing we care about, is reporting your rental income as accurately as possible, right? So we're gonna go, oh, this is so weird. I remember this now, doing this with someone else. Rental income, that's gonna be our category name. This is totally different than my other videos. Okay, so we're gonna say sales, services, doesn't matter. Sales and product income, they're all really the same. Okay, so we're gonna make rental income, and we don't need a description, so that's save. Okay, so then if you go here, you have your assets first, and then here we have our income. So we have rental income, right? See, I don't even like it like that. I don't want it to be under any, but I can't, apparently. Okay, fine. Okay. We're gonna say new. This is gonna drive me nuts. How am I gonna do? Okay, this is a little nuts, but this is how you have to do it. Okay, so we're gonna say building 1, and then you have to know what you're looking for. So I made rental income. So what that did, rental income, building 1, now let's make building 2. They're making this much harder for people. Okay, so now let's go back. Now we have building 1, building 2. Okay, so see how my income is going to be there. So I'm going to say unit 1, I'm just gonna do 2 units actually, because this is, so see here, my rental income, I'm gonna be able to see, oh, unit 2, right, unit 1, unit 2, building 1. So now we'll make building 2. I'm going to put just different things so it's easier. Unit 51, no. Unit 1A, building 2. I just do want to do something a little different. And here again, if you pick the wrong one, you could change it, I guess, by going there, but oh, shoot. See, I lost it. Building 2. Okay. The reason that is the most important thing you do is you always want to be able to track your rental income by unit. You may say, I don't really care. And then in a year, you're going to care and wish you had set this up the right way. Okay. So that's the first step. If you have 50 units, you're going to have to sit there and enter each one of those, a sub of each building. I don't know why they've made it so hard to enter those. The other way it usually pops up, you pick income, you can quickly pick the sub. But this is what people keep telling me, like things look different. Okay, and they're trying to gear it more to a person who's not a bookkeeper or an accountant, but I don't know. It looks a little more time consuming to me. I made one called 1A and 2A just so that it would be easier later. Okay, so we've set up our income codes. Now the next thing I would do is set up item codes that link to the unit. And this allows you to invoice or auto invoice your tenants every month so you can accurately track, you know, whatever. Okay, so let me show you how you do that. Go over here to the gear icon. It's products and services. Okay, so service is fine. So we're going to call it building 1, unit 1. And then here we go down to our income and see how this is here already. So building 1, unit 1. And let's give this a price. Let's say $1,800. And you can hear it say monthly rent, building 1, oops, unit 1. Okay. Then you could do save and new, building 1, unit 2. Make this one $2,000. Unit 2. Now let's do the other one. Unit 1A. This can be anything you want. So again, make sure you don't pick services. You got to go up and pick the right corresponding. I need one more. The more units you have, the more items you have. You'll see why later. Just making. Okay. So we have our item. We have our items linked to our chart of account, which is simply just the income code that describes everything, right? Okay. Next thing we need to do. Okay, I like to make each building its own customer. Okay, I just made this, and I know this is the way I like it. I would, especially in desktop, but I think I have to turn on job costing to be able to do what I like, because they call it projects. Okay, what I did was, let me just back up. I go to the gear icon, click accounting settings. Okay, we're in the track classes. What the heck is it? Okay, hold on. Okay, here it is. Because we bought Plus, it already turned on organize all job related activity in one place, and that's projects. Okay. Okay, so we have building 1 as a customer. Then let's do building 2. Okay. Why am I doing this? I always like to have their expiration, their lease expiration in with their name and their unit number. Okay. Oh, here we go. Is a sub customer of building 1. All right. Now I'm remembering what I'm doing here, and then click bill this customer. Okay, so let's see what that does. Thank the Lord. Okay. All right, sorry guys. Sometimes it's like I work in so many different files. I don't even know why I do things sometimes. Okay, so now we'll make building 1, unit 2. Okay, is a sub customer of building 1, but we don't want it to bill with the parent, because then when you receive the payments, you have all kinds of problems. So that's where it's kind of separate. And I think mostly why I like to do it this way is people say to me all the time, like, how can I easily see how many rents are still due on a certain property versus the other one? And when they're all in the same QuickBooks file, this kind of like organizes it really nice so that when we look at this more, you'll be able to see open balances. Like right now, they haven't been invoiced, so you're not going to see it the same. Okay. And I just go right down to display name. So building 2, unit, I think I did 1A. Okay, is a sub customer of building 2, bill this customer. And then we need one more. So I think the biggest reason I like to do this is just to like set them up. And I think though, then you can run things by projects because we've done this setup. A lot of things, the setup is just like setting it up right. It takes a little more time, but it'll be worth it in the end. Okay. We've got our 2 buildings. We've got our total of our 4 tenants, right? Okay. Now, oh, look at this. See, I didn't go in and give them the expirations, and look how much weirder it looks. Okay, and let's say this one's like in the middle of the month. This is also a good way for you to be able to see when your leases are expiring. I cannot tell you how many times I've met people and I ask them for their rent roll or their lease digest, and you know, I want to know like when are certain things expiring, and they find out, oh my gosh, I should have been charging them more rent for the past 10 months, and now that they just say, there's no way I'm going to get it now because you know the tenant was happy that you forgot. Okay, so this is another good thing. See, you can start seeing this, and this does not matter. I mean, this is going to show up in their invoice, but in my personal opinion, tenants do not need to get bills for rent. It's like someone with a mortgage, they know it's due. Okay, but this is showing that this person has 2 more years on their lease, all of 2022, all of 23. This one has 1 year. This one only has 4 more months. This is where you want to be sending your letter soon, planning out, you know, your rent increase letters, talking to the tenant, that sort of thing. Okay, so now this is correctly set up. Now let's talk invoicing a tenant and how I would do it. So this is why you've already created the chart of accounts with the income code that goes to Sally Smith's unit. It doesn't say Sally Smith though. This is what people ask me. And you've already created the items so you can make the invoice. That's why we do it in this specific quarter. All right, so Sally Smith, and I'm just going to say that her rent is the same for 2 years so that we can just make this easy. But I made the items and I didn't write them down. All right, hold on. Okay, so you probably already, oops. Products and services. You'll know your rent roll, but I don't because mine's made up. Building 1, unit 1, 1,800. Building 1, unit 2, 2,000. Oh, I forgot though. They're gonna auto thing. Okay. Just write these down anyway. Okay. So go back to get paid. I swear, okay. Once you're in get paid, click customers. Well, that's funny because I just made Sally Smith. I feel bad. This used to be so much easier of a software. Okay, what did I do and why can't we see that? We should be able to see in customers building 1 and it's just gone. Okay, but now it's back. If your QuickBooks is acting crazy, one thing you should do is clear your cookies. Now I just cleared them, so I'm not gonna, I know how to just play around with it, but it really shouldn't have done that. Just saying. Okay. So building 1. Now I just click that. Now we're back to this. Another thing you might want to do, especially with this more frustrating version, is bookmark them. So make a bookmark, call it QBO customers, because then you can keep going back to your bookmarks. You can also make multiple pages. So I've highlighted this. I type Control C, create a new tab, Control V. but then we can do something else. That's just how you make new windows. And you could go to something, I don't know, like chart of accounts. And then you could do this, right? Chart of accounts. I think I put QBO in front of it. Maybe make a folder for this. Because that was really frustrating. I mean, how are there no customers for a second? I don't know. Okay. Sally, we're gonna set it up so she gets billed every month on the 1st, $1,800. But I'm gonna show you how it remembers this, and this is an important thing to do if you don't want to leave rent prices to memory. Sally Smith, Unit 1, Building 1. You could put in an email, and it would email her. Reminders, I like reminders as long as you post all your payments, because you could remind a tenant that paid you. That'd be bad. Product, Building 1 and Unit 1, that's Sally. Someone just asked me the other day, well, don't I want in my chart of accounts Sally's name in the rental income Building 1, Unit 1? No, Sally's gonna move out. We never want Sally anywhere in our financial reporting. We need her name to just be like, so we can check and make her a statement and we can tell what she's done, but we don't want Sally in our financials. Okay, so her name should never be there. Building 1, only in the customer section. Building 1, Unit 1, it brought it up. Here's the next thing we were talking about, which I didn't make, but we can make on the fly, is the class. This is the best way to track multiple units. So I'm gonna say, we build everything like we do our chart of accounts, just follow it. You have a certain income chart of accounts, you're gonna make your class kind of like the same thing. Building 1. I'm gonna click save. Then I'm gonna say add new. If it doesn't like make a sub, I'm gonna kill it. Hit cancel. You used to be able to do those on the fly. Lists. See where it says all lists? Classes. Edit. See, it's a subclass. We'll see what this does in a minute. You got to hold out. So I'm just going to sit here like we did. You'll see. I'm going to make building 2. Can't spell. And you just keep doing this, and whatever your unit name, however you do it. Okay. So now we're doing the same thing. So we can, the reason you use a class is then you can narrow, you can class every transaction. And you can run reports that are very specific, either to one building or a certain unit, or you pick like 2 of the 4 units. And then you should get one more, and that would be G&A. And that's general and administrative. Okay, that's overhead. That's like your gas, your telephone. Nothing, you know, like things that you cannot put to the building. You could even do this too, though. This is another idea. Building 1, and then you can have building 1 general, like things you can't split up, right? Some of these you can't really, you know, it's like for the whole building. It's not really for the unit. Okay. Now let's go back to get paid and pay. Get paid and pay. They're combining those. Okay, fine. Back to Sally. She's not going to expire for 2 years, right? So go down to your product. You're doing building 1, unit 1, 18 months. You're going to pick building 1, unit 1. So your class matches your product and service, and your product and service is linked to your income account that says the same thing. So it's like a circular thing of this building 1, unit 1. Okay. We're going to backdate this to yesterday. We're going to pretend we've turned on the credit card and bank transfer thing. That's a whole other setup. And right here, it says create recurring invoice. So we're going to say we're going to create it 2 days in advance. We're going to automatically send the emails. I'm just going to put everything to my bookkeeping company, hello@hbbookkeeping.com. If you want to send a question, you can always send it to hello. It's not going to go behind, okay? Like January 1st already happened. So you're going to set it for February 1st. The end. How many occurrences? So we have 11 this year and 23 occurrences. Due on receipt, terms, it's due the date, rent's due on the 1st, right? You could have the reminders on, or maybe not. I would say no. I don't know. I don't like those because if you don't keep up on your payments and you're off, people get really mad when, and the other thing is QuickBooks has been there's been a glitch and they have like people have been paying and sometimes it's not been auto posting in QuickBooks Online. So I would turn it off. I don't have that on my company. I just don't like things going out to my clients without me knowing about it. Okay. Save template. The only problem is that template saved, but we didn't actually make the invoice for January. Building 1, unit 1, 1800, 1. Terms. On receipt. Let me show you something. Save and let me save and send so you can see what it looks like. So they get this each month. They could, if you turn on the payments through QuickBooks, it can pay. There's a link. Same close. See, it needs you to set up this thing. Payments. So if you don't want that to, what happened? That was QuickBooks trying to sell you another thing. They have a thing called QuickBooks Time. I do not know why this won't work. Let's just make sure it's not happening. Look, I did 2 times now. I'll delete one. Okay, building 2. Let me show you if you're setting them up this month in January. Oh, I wanted to show you this other thing. When you set these customers up, make sure you do due on receipt right away. So that's payment and billing, terms, due on receipt. And right there, again, if you had opening balances from prior things, I think you could put it right here. Let's play with it. Say they owed you from 2021. So that's kind of cool, right? They owed you from the prior year. And you can put opening balance as of, they didn't pay their December rent. Never paid Why not? Okay, but you got to put in your class, building 1, unit 2. Okay, now let's make the January. Let me show you a different way than I just did. Now look, see how it went due on receipt? I'm just turning this off so I don't get the warning. Building 1, unit 2. When do they enter in? 12/31, so we're in, okay. Now in the class, building 1, unit 2, do this, do save and close. Now go back. Because now you got that saved. Now go to the bottom and say make recurring. I like 3 days in advance for some reason. Automatically send. Because people aren't really going to pay you rent early. I mean, no one in their right mind pays rent early. Like I won't pay my rent early because I don't want to hit my P&L, right? Even if I ACH my landlord. But I just schedule, like that's business. But I'm just going to say, like, people really rarely prepay rent. Now, let me write that down. I'll go over, wait, what do you do when you prepay rent? Or if your tenant does. Okay, so this one's expiring this year. So there's going to be 11 occurrences. That means we made January's and we want QuickBooks to make 11 more every month, you know, for February through December. Or November. Okay. Building 2, unit A. I know this is so boring, but this will give you all the, wait a minute. Once you get these set up right, then oh, that's another thing. Like I got to show you how to do late fees, pet fees, right? Building 2, unit 1A. Okay. Due on receipt, invoice date, due date. Okay, good. Okay. You could put more than one person on, like maybe a parent is supposed to be paying someone's, you know, like a young person's rent, college person's rent. Okay, but you have to do this first. You first save and close it for your January. Now open it back up and then make it recurring. 3 days, automatically send an email. Let's just not have those on. Start date 2/1. When did I say this one's over? Oh, okay. This one's done in April. End of April is the last thing. So you need February, March, April. So you have 3 occurrences. Class. Okay. So again, go in here and make sure it's set at due on receipt. Because if you send them a bill and says their rent's not due for 30 days, they will not pay you. A business would pay you, maybe. Okay, so make sure you do the class. Okay, save and close. When are they expiring? I think 11/30/22. Okay, so you're only gonna have 10 more. Down at the bottom, click make recurring. Automatically, 3 days. Start date 2/1, but it's gonna go 3 days ahead. The invoice is gonna happen on 2/1, but it's gonna make it 3 days before then. So you got February, you got January, so then you have February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 10. I still do this years and years later. I still count them out like that. Save template. Okay, so I want to show you what we've done. If you go over here to the right, to the gear icon, under lists, you can see recurring transactions. So, see this one, did I screw that up? Yes. Start date 2/1. See. Okay. You can click into them and see how many they have left. So he must be ending at the end of the year. See, we have 11. Bob, Sally. Do you see how easy it is since you can see their thing? Sally's like a long time. She has like 21. 2 years, 24, 23, and what am I saying, 21? Okay, so you get the gist. This is what you can come and check these, but they're all their next date should be February. If you screw this up, then you might not invoice someone in time. Okay, but let me just show you now if I could learn how to do anything in this. Okay, I just click reports. This is one you want. Profit and loss by class. This is so slow. Tax time, QuickBooks is really slow. It's not my computer and it's not my internet, I swear. All right, I just switched to Mozilla Firefox to see if it'll work now. So why it wasn't working in Chrome, I have no idea, but that's what you do. Switch browsers. I do Chrome first, and then second, I do Firefox. Okay, look at this $1,800 not specified. That's for that prior rent. So let's click into that. It was building 1, unit 1. So it'll tell you if you didn't classify something. Hello. Okay, so this is by class. Total building to total not specified. So see, these are ones where I screwed up and I didn't. Now the recurring one would need to be fixed too. Okay. Now, where this will matter is as you spend money in a certain unit or building, like building general, then you'll be able to narrow things down. So right now, this is your chart of accounts, unit 1, building 1, but then it's only putting, see, this is all of building 1, total of building 1, and then here's your total of building 2. So why do you want a class? What if you want to go to the bank and you want to refinance one piece of the asset, right? Or the bank really wants to know, like, is this all profitable, or is like one building draining another, one building supporting the other building in the rent roll, right? So there's two things. One, I'm having you build your chart of accounts to show the units, but let's say you only want to show a piece regarding one property to an investor, a friend, someone you're getting to try and invest in you. Maybe you don't want to show them everything. That's where the classes come involved. come into play, right? So classes. Oh, here we go. Customize. Classes. Filter. Now go to class. You're going to filter by class. And you're going to only select building 1. Okay, so now it's only showing you anything you don't, let's not use the word tagged, but put a class on that had to do with building 1. This QuickBooks has a thing called tags. And then here, see, this was this opening balance, which I already don't like. This was what building 1 unit 2. And let's just change this. Higher rent code. And it was 1,500. So don't do that. I mean, it's going to screw up your classes. Okay. So that's why you do the classes. Then you're going to get expenses. Like you're paying for landscaping for building 1. That would go in the general piece, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. That's the classes that way. But let's just look at a plain profit and loss. And you'll see why that's so pretty. This is what I love. And I say use up all your chart of accounts and pay for more if you have a lot of units. That as you post these January to December, you will see like if you have any holes, right? And that holes would be vacancies usually, or a deadbeat tenant. I don't have it like one filled out to show you, but let me just show you kind of what it is. It's my favorite report in QuickBooks. So look at this report. As your years go on, and all I did was run a year-to-date P&L, and I went over here to display columns by, and I chose months. I use this P&L day in, day out, and make my bookkeepers use it constantly. It's the best way to spot an error or to see a trend. Okay, so what you're going to do is each month, those are going to generate, right? If you're on accrual, it'll show everything you invoiced. Now watch when I hit cash. Got nothing. Because I didn't teach you how to receive payments yet. But this will show you when you pop it into cash. If you pop it into accrual and you have all your invoices for the whole year, it'll show you how much you should make each month, right? So, I mean, you don't want to do this. But let me just show you a couple so you can see what I'm talking about. Because now you won't know the balance really, because that's why you want them to auto generate so that you don't, but I want to show you what one of these babies looks like if you do it for a whole year. And knowing you real estate investors, you already have this like in a spreadsheet. I've yet to meet a real estate investor that doesn't have a spreadsheet. I mean, and you should have one. Okay, now business overview, profit and loss. This year, go up here to display columns by, choose months. What? Oh, got to do the whole year. Okay, this is the one I kept doing. Do you see how beautiful that is? It'll just keep doing your rent roll, right? So as you finish a year, all of these little boxes will be filled in with the rents you charged if you do accrual. Cash is what you collected. That's a sad report right now because we didn't receive any payments. Okay, so what have we done so far? We set up your chart of accounts. We set up items. and we set up your customers. And you see why I like to do the projects, even though I'm not totally sure why I do that. It's just I've done this for so long this way. I know there's more reasons. I'll come up with them later. People email me and say, why do you always make the building? And I think it's just because I like to be able to see, like, in the amount due, the building and then the tenants, and then the other building and then the tenants. So I think I mostly like it just for that. I like things very orderly. Okay, but let me just talk about one other thing that I was coming up with before. And that is, you're gonna have other fees like late fees, pet fees, bounce check fees, right? I'm gonna just teach you one more. You can just follow along. Now, these are, it's not, to me, rental income. And I'm not gonna like group them with the other things. Well, let's call it rental fees, okay? Income, I hate this chart of accounts thing. Services. Okay, so we'll say rental fees, new, category name. Okay, now we go again, you gotta remember what you're doing. Services, rental fees, select. So now see, that's my parent. Then I'm gonna say pet fees, save. Okay, don't forget, every time you make one of those chart of accounts, you need to make an item so when you invoice it. Another thing I noticed with the client, I was training on QuickBooks Desktop, and I would say even in here, maybe you're brand new to QuickBooks, but we noticed if we did a sales receipt where we just charged them or said they paid, it didn't show up on their statement. So and that's annoying, but I don't know why. Okay, so we're gonna say pet fee. Then income account, we're gonna go down here to pet fees. Okay, and then because people can have a pet, not have a pet. Okay, get paid and pay. I don't know, how do I get back? Like, this is nuts. Oh, I'm gonna go up here, customers. Okay, so we're gonna say, I like to make things this way. Pull up Sally's, like, whatever. Okay. Let's make her, actually, let's go into her invoice and we do pet fee. I didn't, maybe it depends on the pet. Oh, let's just say it's $50. And then make sure you still do your class. And then what does that look like? Go to business overview. Now pet fees. I don't need to know by unit. That's not something you can plan on, right? Like if you're talking to your bank or you're looking at things in general, pet fees and late fees, you cannot count on them, but they're great bonuses. The bonus fees, if you ask me. Late fees, you can make a fortune off of late fees, pet fees. Look at your bank, how much they. So this would be here, right? But if you ran that by class, you would see how much you're making in a pet fee by unit. So, but you're not going to make a pet fee for every unit. Are you following? Like, we're not going to have unit 1, building 1, unit 1 pet fee. Now that's a waste of an account code. But see here, we see the $50, we did make it in building 1, unit 1. And if we were comparing building 1 to building 2, and building 1 had 4,000 in pet fees and the other one didn't, Maybe building 2, they don't allow pets. Maybe only building 1 does. Well, then maybe you could project that you're gonna have mostly pet owners. Okay. Okay, let's see, late fee, prepaid rent. Now, first of all, being a bookkeeper for ever, like 20 years now, I don't really ever see people prepaying rent, but people always want me to teach them that, so let me teach you. And this is a little complicated, so let's first, once again, you're gonna do any type of thing, you're gonna make a chart of account, right? So we're gonna go bookkeeping, new, I hate this way, prepaid rent, liability. Why is it liability? Because if they move out in February and they paid you 3 months rent, you owe them 2 back, right? Okay, the next thing we'll do is tenant security deposits. Okay. Select a category. Other accounts. Why is this so hard? I don't know how people that don't know what they're doing are supposed to use this. All right, we'll go short-term liabilities. I don't even know, like, I guess you can just search here. Where did that? Okay, let's see where it's showed up. Prepaid rent liability. It's a sub of customer prepayments. I don't know. See if I can fix this. I can't. I have to leave it like that. I don't even know why you can't edit these things. Okay. Anyway, now we have this prepaid rent. Now we've got to make a product. New service. Then you link it where it says income, type prepaid rent. Okay. Get paid and pay. Now we're going to go up to customers. Okay. Now, let's say someone's going to move into Jackie's unit 1A, right? So we've got to make a new customer. She's going to move in May 1st. And she wants to hold the spot. Building 2, unit 1A. It's the same people's names all the time. I already have a Jennifer. I always use the same last names. And I'm going to say she's going to move out in May 1st. So she'll be April 4/30/2023. Don't forget, you set them up, do it now. Didn't I just make this person? Okay. So I'm going to charge her today for something really for May. Now, prepaid rent, don't set that up with a certain amount because you don't know. Just get used to always doing the class. Okay. Oh, where's my new? Oh, I screwed up. I think I screwed that up. Melissa Bond, where did she go? Oh, I need to make her a sub customer and part of that building. Building 2. Don't bill with parent, bill as customer. Okay. Now look, she's right under, and look, you can see, and this is why you don't want to invoice out ahead, but it looks like, so you can see this like, oh, here's a better one to look at. Building 1, you've got 5350 out you're waiting on. So you could just like, if you keep this up and you go look at your bank and see how much money's in there, don't write checks. ACH, bill pay online. You'll know kind of like where you stand all the time. Okay, so Melissa has this 1800. Let's receive the payment. Okay, I'm going to finally let you set up a bank account. Business over bookkeeping. Again, chart of accounts. Don't connect it to a bank yet. Don't do bank feeds. Bank account. Okay. I like Chase. I say it all the time. It's like the easiest bank to work at for a bookkeeper. It's also a great bank if you need to designate a bookkeeper, right? You want to hire my company, you want to hire someone in your town, anyone. You can give them view only access so easily at Chase. No other bank is as easy that I know of. Okay, especially for personal, if you want to do personal banking and you want a bookkeeper to do it. Chase is the only bank I know of that allows bookkeeper view only access. So enough said about that. Okay, so checking. So we're going to just not have any money in it, but now I'm going to show you how you'd receive money and put it in the bank. Okay. Get paid and pay. Okay, so this is this money for May, right? We're going to pick Chase checking. We're going to say she paid us today. If she paid you with a check, put in the check number. Save and close. Okay, so let me show you something. You got money in the bank today, right? You got money. Doesn't show you got any money. Because that money isn't for, you're not actually providing housing, shelter until May. So what's happened right now is that money is in your prepaid rent liability. You're not going to get, you don't get to, because if she comes back in 2 months and you had to deal with her that you'd give it back, you have to give her back that $1,800. Okay. But what happens? There's one thing, and you actually have to use a journal entry to do it. Okay, so you go into your register here. And then on 5/1/2022, you're just going to type in here in the memo, prepaid rent to May 2022. Okay, this is building 2, unit 1. What you're trying to do is make this 0, because now she's going to use it up. And I would post this now, though, even though it's not May. And where are you going to go? You're going to go rental income, building 2. Which one is she? 1A. Okay. Let's bring this out to May. We'll do cash. So that's the only money we receive now. Okay. I know this stuff takes forever. Get paid and pay. Okay. So let's receive the rest of these payments. Not all those ones for that one person I made. Okay, so let's say payments to, okay. We call this undeposited funds, but now it calls it payments to deposit. I'm just gonna say everybody's paying by check. I have other videos, I'll make more on what do you do if you're charging through Square and you're using another thing, and things get complicated. Let's say everybody went online because it's Bob Jones. He owes a bunch. Oh, because let's say he paid, here's a funny one. What if he only paid partially? He paid like, he's behind in his rent and he's gonna pay you all the $2,000. He's only gonna pay you $750 of his $1,500. So you go like this. I like to receive the payment inside the customer. So he's giving you $2,750, but he wants you, really important is that you allocate things the way they ask you to allocate them. It did it the right way, but I usually say put most of the money to the oldest invoice, but let's say he said, I'm gonna pay all of this month in half of like what I just said. But if it hadn't done that, you could play with it. Let's say you wanna pay all of $1,500 and then only, how much is that? Wait, that's how much he totally owes. See, that's the problem. See what it did here? Oh, okay, still doing it. Anyway, you can play with the amounts. Let's say you only want to do 1,000 and then 500. I don't know why you would do that. Let's say 1,500. Make sense? Okay. But we're gonna say you paid $2,750. And he's gonna catch up on the last one later. You put it to payments to deposit. I'll show you what happens later. I mean, a lot of landlords now are getting Zelled. You get a lot of Zelle, Chase Quick Pay. So one of my employees said that her landlord won't take Zelle anymore because he has to pay a fee. I'd pay the fee. Don't be short-sighted. If you get paid 10 days earlier for a small fee, pay the fee. And young people that are under 25, they do not know what a check is. I had an employee come once and I told him I needed him to give me a check for his direct deposit. He brought the checkbook. 2 years later, he's a CPA now, and I find his checkbook in the back of like, way in the back of the file cabinet. Like he never used the checkbook. He didn't, and I asked him, I'm like, do you want me to mail you it? And he's like, no, I've never used a check ever. So you have to make it easy for people to pay you. And you have to be willing to pay a fee. And if that means you bump up your rent 2% or a small amount that you put into the cost of doing business, you will be a better landlord for that. I mean, I didn't never worry about fees that people pay me when they pay me by credit card. I don't even care. I find that like versus 10 years ago, I get paid so much faster because people can pay me online. And I just consider that a part of doing business. I'll rant about that, but that's, if you want to be successful, you need to figure that into your price. Okay, these are not even overdue yet, right? These are all future payments. Everything's so different. Okay, I click that little white circle. I click bank deposit. And so these are like, let's say, you know, people kept bringing in checks. Like when I started out, gosh, it's gotta be like 17 years ago, before my daughter was born, I worked for someone who owned an apartment building, and they had an office, and people would just push the like checks through the slot. Okay. But let's say, right, everybody came to the rental office, they paid all over the weekend. Today's Sunday. So we're not going to take it to the bank till tomorrow. So I posted all the payments as they paid then, so they get credit for paying on time. But we're going to say we're taking them to the bank on Monday. Okay. Let's go look at our report now. First, we're going to just do a general profit and loss. Okay, and so we have 4 units and we've received 4 payments. So the more units you have, the more it would show. But you can see here, you can compare your 2 buildings, like which performs better. And then here's your pet fee. So I want that to be separate than your rental income. If each time you have a building, it should have its own main parent account. Okay. All right. I'm only going to do a couple expenses just so you can see like how you would post that. I'm not going to show bank feeds in this video. There's a million QuickBooks Online videos on connecting and things like that. Let me do security deposits. Okay, like I said, everything has to do with the chart of accounts. So go back to bookkeeping. If you have 4 units, you need 4 security deposit accounts. And I hate the way this is set up, but let's do it. I just can't believe I have to. Loans and money owed. I have to pick one of these. I cannot believe I have to pick. See, it doesn't even, I can't add one. I don't have other current liability. That's what we always call it. Okay. That's where you got to throw it. Okay, so I made that. Once again, we're not going to do it by their name. Okay, we're going to go here. Now type security deposit. Okay. Building 1, unit 1, security deposit. You could get 2, right? You could have someone currently occupying a unit, and then they're going to be moving out and another person. So you could have 2 people security on 1 unit. That's fine. I think this is just crazy. Just happened. Maybe if I turn on numbers, it'll be easier. Okay, I'm not going to do a million of these, but let me show you. What did I just do? Okay, so you see, then I do, where's unit 1? It's there. Okay, building 1, building 2, 1A, whatever. Maybe it's because I didn't type security. I don't know. Okay, so you do the same thing. You've got to make the item and you've got to link it to that chart. And this is why the name never matters. You could have, I would type it different. I would do security, building 1, unit 1. See how those link? Gotta let it. Okay. Security, building 1, unit 2. Okay. Building 1, unit 1. Let's say she paid that to you before. She moved in January and she rented it here. So I started this SEC, so I could have put in a description. I don't remember what she paid. Let's say she has to pay. It's so slow. 2,000. The class is good for the balance sheet, building 1, unit 1. Let's say she paid that right before she moved in. See, I screwed up. I should have had the payment date on receipt. Okay, and then we did building 2. Let's say we made him one. Security, building 1, unit 2. I'm just totally making things up. This is the problem with online. It can get slow. Desktop is super fast, but it's not cloud-based. I'm just going to throw this in the bank. Let's say I had one payment, I took it. Okay. See, isn't this pretty? See how building 1, it says you owe $750, and then you go down and see who owes the $750. I think that's why I like to set it up this way. Okay, so let me show you what that means, though. Let's go to look at the balance sheet. We have the prepaid rent. Let's scroll this up. Building 1, oh, see, something screwed up here. Building 1, unit 2 this is supposed to be building 1, unit 1. So let me see if my item's messed up. No, I put the wrong thing. I bet you guys saw that. No, I got to change that. I guess it was 2,000. Okay, so let's go back. That's how you check things, right? My foot is falling asleep. Seriously falling asleep. Okay, look how nice that is. Building 1, security deposit 2,000. Unit 2, security deposit 1,800. And then we have our prepaid rent. So right now in liabilities, you've got $5,600, right? And then you say to me, well, Lori, someone moved out, but I withheld some of their rent because they damaged the apartment. What do I do then? Okay. Who's in building 1, unit 2? Let's just see. Building 1, unit 2. Bob Jones. Gosh, he didn't even, let's see, he didn't even pay this other money he owes you, and then he moves out. And then let's say he moves out and he says that he's not going to pay you the rest of the money either, right? Okay. Someone just had me show them what to do there. Okay. Someone doesn't pay you the rent. You have bad debt. But in my mind, I want to see the credits you have to take up at the top of your profit and loss as negative rent. We do this with medical practices too. Like we call it patient refunds. So category income, watch what this does. Come on. Okay, I'm putting it under rental income, okay? Because I want you to see how much you're taking a hit on each month. Okay, so once again, you've got to create your account in your chart of account before you can do your item. You're only going to use this to write off, so they don't show as accounts receivable anymore. Accounts receivable just means money people owe you. See, they have bad debt. Oh gosh, let's go get rid of that. They have their own, like QuickBooks made bad debt in the chart of accounts. I'm sorry, QuickBooks is so slow right now. Okay, so let's go back to bookkeeping. I don't want bad debt at the bottom of your P&L. You need to know, that looks like it's operating or money you're spending. You need to know like what kind of hits you're taking from bad tenants. Okay. So back to get paid and pay. So I saw what my problem is that it's just so slow. And what I'm really, oh no, it's maybe a dingbat. Go up here now to customers. And we're going to say Bob Jones is not going to pay this, right? This 750 from his prior, he's not going to pay. So we're going to make a credit memo. And we're going to say today, bad debt. You could say Bob moved out any day. So we're going to write off the 750. Building 1, Unit 2. Okay, it auto applied that. I hate it when it does that. There's a way to go change that, but I'm not going to get into that right now. Okay, so now Bob Jones doesn't show that he owes any more money, but then we still have the fact that he paid $1,800 now in security. Now, he had 18, okay, so he didn't pay his prior rent, and let's say he did like a huge amount of damage to the apartment. The way I would do it, go to your chart of accounts. $1,800. You have to convert it to rental income. I don't care that you spent $3,000 fixing it. Then you'll have $3,000 in money coming out of your bank account. If you fix the apartment yourself, that's your sweat equity. Convert security to income. Deadbeat. Destroyed apartment. Okay, you're going to class it. What was he? This is why I like things in here like this. Unit, building 1, unit 2. And you go here, rental income, building 1, unit 2, save. Okay, now, let's say you had to write a check to get this whole place fixed. Right, like he destroyed the windows, whatever. Okay, that was a code already there. So this is where you can put in but I would just do building 1, unit 2. I don't really use the project costing, but why not use it if it's there? Don't click billable. Can't remember the guy's name. I think it was Bob. So what did this do? Okay, one, let me just show you. Okay. There's your bad debt. That's the money you had to credit. I'm surprised it shows up on a cash, but okay. So you have $750 you had to write off. Then you made $1,800, you made $3,500. Now, their $3,500 is part of the money that this was a partial payment. And then this, where's my journal entry? So what it does is on that bad debt, because you're going to lose the money, but it's really a wash because of cash basis, it puts it on and then it takes it off. I'll explain that a better way. I'm trying to find where's my journal entry. Okay, I figured out my issue. I hate this. When I first start a new year, I always put the wrong year in. So I had that date wrong. So always, like, if you can't figure something out, don't just think it's all right. Like, you got to go figure out what's going on. Okay, so here's my 1,800 that I converted in cash. I had received one, and then this is the security deposit. If you click here, you'd see it's from the security deposit. And then here I wrote the check for 3,600 to repair. I think it's building 1, unit 2. Okay. So then let's say we just want to see what's happening with building 1, unit 2. Customize. Go here to filter, class, building 1, unit 2. So we had bad debt. We have 3,500. So it's not gonna. Okay, so building 1, unit 2, you have a bad debt. You have 3,500 here, but you had to write out 3,600 for the repair of the damage, meaning you lost 850 on building 1, unit 2. Okay. Doesn't have the unit 1 in here, so this isn't really the total of building 1. But that should show you why you want to use classes. We have learned how to invoice. We've created tenants. We created the income codes. We created security deposits. We learned how to refund them. We've created late fees, or I did a pet fee. And we determined how to break out prepaid rent. We've also returned security deposits, and we've also written off bad debt. All right, everyone, I hope this was very helpful for you. I will continue working off this file and showing you how to continue after this. But this is where you should start out for your January 2022. Just remember, your chart of accounts is the basis for everything you build on. So anytime you need to create an item or anything you would actually invoice the tenant for, I think you should first make an income code, or basically make sure you have a code for anything ahead of time before you make that item. All right, please post any questions or comments on the YouTube channel. You can also email me at hello@hvbookkeeping.com. I also give private lessons via Zoom. All right, have a great night. Bye.